My name is Daniel Price. It's 2:13 in the morning, Hawaii Standard Time, and the sky over Hilo looks wrong. The window in front of this mic used to show the bay, the streetlights, the gas station on the corner. Right now it's just orange blur and drifting ash, like someone smeared the night with a dirty thumb. The studio lights are off so I can watch it better. I probably shouldn't, but I can't stop. You're listening to KHHN 740 AM, Hilo, or whatever's left of it. If you can hear me, it means at least one tower is still standing, and the generator downstairs hasn't given up yet. Outside, the rain gutters are rattling with cinders. Every few seconds there's this soft hit on the glass, like dry rice. The air conditioner died an hour ago, so the room feels like a slow oven. My throat burns every time I swallow. I can taste dust that didn't exist yesterday. Kilauea is awake again, but this isn't like the postcards. You've seen the tourist shots. Clean lava lakes, glowing rivers at a safe distance, everybody with their phones out. Tonight isn't that. Tonight the mountain is a broken pipe someone forgot to turn off, and it's pouring fire and smoke into everything. If you're just stumbling across this on some old radio in your kitchen, or on a car stereo that still has power, this is what we know so far. About 6 hours ago, just after 8 in the evening, the first alerts came in from the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. Increased seismic activity, elevated gas emissions, the usual calm phrases. They always sound like they're written by someone who never sweats. We've had swarms before, little quakes, weird smells, ground cracks. Locals shrug, tourists freak out, the mountain calms down again. Happens every few months. But around 9, something changed. The shaking didn't stop. It stacked. At first, it was a jitter, like a truck passing by. Then it turned into rolling waves that made ceiling fans sway and water glasses slide across tables. In the studio, the mic arms started to vibrate. Cables tapped like nervous fingers. I was here, doing the usual late-night set. Island rock, old classics, half-bored weather reports. When the first real jolt hit, I knocked my coffee over and swore on air. I'll probably never live that down, if there's anyone left to remember. Then the texts started. Just felt that in Volcano Village. Lights flickered in Kilauea. Dogs howling like crazy in Pahoa. One message stuck with me. It was from a woman named Malia in Leilani Estates. Something's different. The ground has a heartbeat. I read it out loud, made a joke about poetic listeners, and moved on. I wish I hadn't. By 10, HVO confirmed. Vents were opening on the flank again. Lava fountains, fissures. The press release said it like they always do. Technical, calm, as if they're describing someone else's house on fire. But then the web camera went. If you've watched Kilauea at night, you've probably seen it. That famous webcam feed, the one streaming the crater and glow to the whole world. People leave it on like a lava fireplace. It's the island's weird little nightlight. Around 10:23 p.m., I switched over from the playlist and pulled up the stream on my laptop. I like to watch it while I talk. Gives me something real to anchor to. The image showed the usual. Faint glow, thin line of stars, rim of the crater like a dark bowl. The chat on the side was full of people saying beautiful and wow. Then the glow got brighter. At first, slowly, like someone turning up a dimmer switch. The crater went from dull orange to bright yellow, then white at the center. You could see shadows moving along the rim, probably equipment or steam. The sky above the crater turned red, then almost purple. People in the chat started typing faster. Is this normal? Is that supposed to happen? What's the gas reading? And then, in one short breath, the lens flared. There was this sudden flash, like a camera going off in your face, and a smear of white across the frame. The audio, usually just wind and distant rumble, spiked into a sharp roar, then static. When the picture came back, it wasn't the crater anymore. It was just black. Lines, dead pixels, nothing. The camera didn't die slow. It didn't fade. It was there. Then it was gone. Like the volcano reached up and crushed it between two fingers. The observatory site froze for a bit. Then the page crashed. Their backup feeds started blinking offline, one by one. People hopped to mirror streams, but those dropped too. The world's window into Kilauea went dark in under 5 minutes. That's when my stomach dropped. Volcanoes are bad enough when you can see them. When the cameras go out, when the sensors go quiet, your mind fills in the blanks. And the mind is always worse. Around 11, Civil Defense pushed the first big alert. Evacuate low-lying areas downwind of the volcano. Expect heavy ashfall. Road closures possible. Phones across the island lit up, that ugly siren tone screaming in people's hands. In the studio, the emergency alert radio tripped and blasted tones so loud it almost blew my headphones. I went from DJ mode to emergency host mode without thinking. I've done hurricane coverage, tsunami warnings, events with clear rules. You tell people, get to higher ground, board up windows, stay away from the shoreline. There's a script, but how do you tell people to stay safe from a mountain that can punch holes in the planet? Anyway, that's the update from my side. Now it's not just ash and lava. Now it's everything. Power is flickering along the high-low waterfront. We've been on generator since around 1:15. Cell coverage is getting patchy. If you lose your signal, remember, AM radio doesn't care if your battery is low. It just needs a little wire and a bit of sky. If you lose the big stations, try scanning slowly across the band. We might jump. All right. Enough from me for a second. Let's hear from someone who's actually out there. We still have one phone line up. I'm going to roll the risk and keep it open as long as I can. Caller, you're on with Daniel at KHHN. Where are you calling from? Hey Daniel. This is Jonah. I'm in Kilauea. Or what's left of it. Jonah, okay. What are you seeing right now? It's weird. I'm standing on my back porch. I can't see the stars. Not even one. The sky's just this glowing ceiling. The ash is falling sideways like it's got its own wind. The neighbor's mango tree is... I don't know, man. It's shedding black snow. The leaves are curling right in front of me. Do you smell anything? Yeah, like burnt matches and something sour. My throat's tight. I put a damp shirt over my nose like the alert said, but it's still getting in. My wife's inside with the kids. We're trying not to freak them out. You got the evacuation alert? Yeah. It says to get moving if you're downwind. But when I stepped out, I realized I don't even know what downwind means right now. The wind shifts every few minutes. 1 second the ashes are blowing toward the road. Next second they're coming back. Which way are we supposed to run? I don't have a good answer for that, Jonah. What about town? Is high-low safer? I look out at the orange blur where the bays should be. Right now, I can't honestly say that. Okay. Listen, Jonah. Is your car running? Do you have gas? Yeah, we filled up earlier. My brother nagged me when the alert started. good. Keep the tank full. Keep the kids inside until you know which route is clear. If you see lava on the road, do not try to drive across it. I shouldn't even have to say that, but people do things when they're scared. And the ash? If it's thick, don't drive fast. It'll clog your air filter. Use low beams, not high. High beams just bounce off the particles and blind you. Windows up. If you've got any N95 masks from the pandemic days, now's the time. Okay, thanks, man. Hey, one more thing. Go ahead. My dogs are freaking out. They're trying to scratch the door down. They know something's wrong. They keep looking at the ground like it's alive. Hold them tight if you can. Animals feel this stuff before we do. If they want out, leash them. Don't let them bolt. Right. Thanks, Daniel. Keep talking, okay? Hearing you helps. I'm not going anywhere, Jonah. As long as this mic works, I'll be here. The line clicks off. I sit there, listening to the soft hiss of the open channel. Somewhere in the background, a relay clicks. The station's old bones groan. The funny thing is, this isn't the part that scares me. Volcanoes erupt, lava flows, roads crack, houses fall. Those things are terrible, but they make sense. There's a rhythm, eruption, flow, cool. We rebuild. We always have. What scares me is the silence on the other end. Normally, on a night like this, the phones would be chaos. Civil defense, police, HVO, neighboring stations, mainland media, somebody shouting at me to stay on message, read the scripted alerts, give out the website, stay calm. Tonight, it's quiet. We've had no direct calls from the observatory since just after 11. The last voice I heard from them was a guy named Lee, one of their field techs. I've talked to him during other events. He's usually dry, almost bored. Tonight, he sounded like someone standing too close to a cliff. He said they were losing instruments, seismic stations going offline, gas sensors dropping, cameras cooked. He kept saying, "This is not the usual pattern." I asked him what that meant. He started to explain, then his voice cut out. The line died with a crackle and a loud pop that made me rip my headset off. We haven't gotten him back. Since then, the only official thing we have is a pre-recorded statement playing on a loop on the big stations. We are monitoring the situation. Follow instructions from local authorities. Do not approach active vents. It sounds safe. It feels like lying. Let me tell you something I probably shouldn't say on air. Around midnight, someone from Honolulu tried to call the station manager. I happened to pick up the line first. The guy wouldn't give his full name. Just said he was speaking on behalf of a federal partner. His voice had that clipped tone, like someone who spends all day in conference rooms. He told us to limit speculative content, to stick to reading official alerts, to avoid causing panic. I asked him if they had any real numbers, lava volume, gas output, wind projections, anything. He paused, then said, "We're still assessing." Then he asked if we could rebroadcast a statement in the morning praising the resilience of the Hawaiian people. The morning. I hung up on him. Probably the first time I've ever hung up on someone from Honolulu. If they hear this, I won't have a job when this is over. But I don't think keeping my job is going to be the biggest problem. All right. Back to what's in front of us. If you're in Hilo Town, you've probably noticed the streetlights flickering. The grid's taking hits from ash on the lines. If you see transformers sparking, do not stand under them, no matter how cool it looks. Stay away from downed wires. Assume every single one is live, even if it's sitting in a puddle. The ash will turn your car into a different color by morning, if we still have a morning. Don't try to wash it off with a dry cloth. You'll scratch the paint down to the metal. If you have to clear your windshield, use water first. Move slow. If you're up near Volcano or Puna, I know you don't need me to tell you what lava looks like. You've seen it before. But this time, people are sending us videos of things I've never seen. Fast flows. Not that slow, creeping stuff you can outrun at a walk. One clip, we managed to pull it from a text before the network got spotty, showed a flow crossing a road at what looked like a jogging pace. You could see a car at the edge of the frame. The driver got out, filmed for a few seconds. Then something hit the camera and the video ended. If that was you, and you're somehow listening, please stop filming and move. We get it. It's bright. It's impressive. It's also trying to kill you. Okay. I've been talking for a long time. I need a sip of the warm water that's pretending to be coffee. Stay with me. Line 2 is blinking, which means the phone gods are still with us. Let's see who we've got. You're on KHHN with Daniel. Where are you tonight? Daniel, this is Tiana. I'm in Hilo, up near Wainaku. Hey, Tiana. What does it look like up there? I don't even know how to say it. The bay is gone. Gone how? I mean, I know it's still there, but I can't see it. The glow from the mountain is so bright it's like sunrise sideways. The clouds are lit from below. Our whole street looks like one of those old war movies, where everything is hazy and orange. My kids think the sky's on fire. How are they doing? They're trying to sleep on the living room floor. I put cartoons on my phone with the volume low, just so they hear something normal. But they keep asking if the lava's coming here. I keep saying no, but I don't know if I'm lying. Have you gotten any notice from Civil Defense about your area? Just the same alert everyone else got. Ashfall. Stay indoors. Close windows. Have you closed them? Yeah. We taped the gaps with whatever we could find. Painter's tape, duct tape. I even stuffed an old towel under the front door. But the dust still gets in. There's a fine layer on our table, on the TV, on the kids' hair. Are you having trouble breathing? A little. Not terrible, but enough that my chest feels tight. I have asthma. I'm trying not to freak out about that. Okay, listen to me, Tiana. Do you have any old inhalers? Even expired? I have one from last year. Use it if you need to. This is not the night to be strict about dates. If you start wheezing badly, if your chest feels like a fist, you need to get to a place with cleaner air. Do you have family in another part of the island? My parents are in Waimea. That's the first place I thought of. But I checked the highway cameras earlier and they were weird. Weird how? Offline. Just black screens. Then a couple of them came back, but the images were all grainy. I thought it was just my phone, but my neighbor said the same thing. It's like the world is fading out one piece at a time. You're not the only one seeing that. We've had reports of mainland sites showing our cams as unavailable. There's a lot of interference tonight. Ash, static, overloaded lines. Daniel? Yeah? Why does it feel like nobody's telling the full story? I suck in a breath that tastes like heat and dust. What do you mean? I mean the officials, the news anchors on the big networks. They keep smiling while they talk about it. spectacular lava displays. Once-in-a-lifetime event. They're putting dramatic music over footage. People are leaving comment emojis like it's a show. Meanwhile, I'm brushing ash off my sleeping kids. I can't answer for them, Tiana. I can only tell you what I see and what I hear from you. Do you think this is going to stop soon? I wish I could say yes. Silence hums between us. The only sound is the faint buzz of the line. Okay, she says finally. Okay, I'll keep the radio on. It's the only thing that sounds honest. I'll be here. Keep the kids close. If the ash gets thick, consider moving inland if you can. Not toward the vents, but sideways, if that makes sense. Sideways. Got it. Thanks, Daniel. The line drops. I lean back and rub my eyes. My fingers come away gray. I didn't even see the dust settling on the console. It's like the ash is seeping through the building itself, carried in on shoes and clothes, and the tiny cracks nobody ever notices. Okay. Let's talk about something I haven't said out loud yet, but people are whispering about in their messages. There's a rumor going around that this isn't just about Kilauea. Some of the texts we got before the cell network started glitching mentioned weird readings from Mauna Loa's sensors too. Nothing confirmed, no official word, but a few people claim they saw steam coming from places that should be quiet. Let me be clear. I am not saying Mauna Loa is erupting. I do not know that. What I am saying is that the earth underneath us is a big connected thing. When one part shifts hard enough, others respond. Tonight's quake patterns don't look like the neat little clusters we're used to seeing on the HVO maps. They look like someone threw a handful of pins across the whole island. If there are any scientists still listening who can get through on the line, I'd really like to hear from you. I know you've been told to keep calm, to not cause panic, but this isn't about panic. It's about giving people a real picture of what's happening. Speaking of pictures, we got a strange email before the connection started choking. No name, just a sender ID that looked like a work address from the mainland. The subject line was, "For on air, if you dare." I almost deleted it on sight. I'm tired of edgy jokes tonight. But the first line grabbed me. "Your webcams didn't die from heat," it said. "They died from interference." There was an attachment. No images, no video. Just a text file with numbers. Strings and strings of them. Frequencies, I think. Some fell in the radio band, some way outside. Notes next to them. Spike. Sustained. Unknown. At the bottom, there was one more sentence. "The spectrum looks wrong. Something big is coupling energy into the ionosphere. You're probably already hearing it as static." I don't know if that's real. I don't know who sent it. But I know this. We've been picking up strange noise tonight. Not the usual hiss. A low, rolling crack, like thunder dragged across tin. If you're tuning across the dial and you land on empty space, listen close. You might hear it underneath. It sounds like the sky trying to clear its throat. I'm not saying this is the end of the world. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that the rules seem looser tonight. Time check. 2:37 a.m. Temperature in Hilo, according to the last reading before the sensor went offline, was 78 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels hotter in here. Humid. Heavy. If you're awake on the island, you're awake for a reason. Fear. Noise. Light. The ringing tone of the emergency alerts that won't get out of your head. Here's my advice, for whatever it's worth. Fill every container you have with water. Sinks, tubs, buckets, bottles. If the ash clogs the treatment plants, tap water might get weird. Keep your car facing out, not nose first into the driveway. It's easier to leave in a hurry if you don't have to back out blind into falling ash. Charge anything that holds a charge. Phones, flashlights, battery packs, radios, even old tablets. You don't know what's going to matter until it does. And if you're alone tonight, if you're sitting in a dark room with the curtains closed, watching that orange glow through a tiny crack, you're not really alone. You've got me. You've got everyone else tuned to the same fading signal. We're a loose chain wrapped around this island, buzzing quietly in the dark. Line 1 is blinking again. I'm going to take another call. You're on KHHN with Daniel. Where are you? This is Chris. I'm on Saddle Road. Or, like stuck on Saddle Road. Chris, what do you mean stuck? I tried to drive from Hilo over to Kona. Figured if things got bad on this side, I'd be safer there. But the fog... You mean the ash? I don't know what it is. It's like fog and smoke had a baby. I can't see more than 10 feet in front of the car. I pulled over because I couldn't tell if I was even on the road anymore. My GPS keeps spinning. I tried to check the map, but the app crashed. And my radio was all static until I found you. Can you see any other cars? No, and that's the weird part. I saw a bunch leaving town with me, headlights lined up like a parade. But somewhere after the halfway mark, they just vanished. No taillights ahead, no headlights behind. Did you take an exit? There aren't any exits here, man. Just the road and the lava fields. It's like the whole world got covered by this blanket. Okay. First, I'm glad you pulled over. Driving blind is how accidents turn into bodies. Are your windows closed? Air on recirculate? Yeah. I turned the air off because it started smelling like a campfire inside. If you can stand the heat, that's good. Keep everything sealed. Keep your seatbelt on. On? Why? I'm parked. Because other people may not be. If someone barrels out of the gray at 60 and clips you, that belt is the only thing between you and the windshield. Right. Okay. Can you see the glow from the volcano from where you are? Kind of. It's this faint, pulsing light through the fog, like a heartbeat. Every time it gets brighter, the static on the radio gets worse. You hearing any sounds? There's this low rumble, not from the engine. I shut the car off to save gas. It's like a train in the distance that never arrives. And every now and then, there's a crack, like someone snapping a tree in half. That's probably the lava hitting pockets in the old flows, or new vents opening. Daniel? Yeah? I keep seeing flashes in the rearview mirror. Not lightning, it's like the air lights up for a second. No sound. Then it's gone. Electrostatic discharges, maybe. The ash rubbing together in the air can produce that. Volcanic lightning. People have sent in pictures of that before. Should I keep driving? No. Stay put until visibility improves. If you can't see the lines on the road, you're better off staying parked with your hazards on and your radio up. If you see headlights behind you, flash your lights. Let them know you're there. But don't pull out unless you're sure where the edge is. Saddle Road doesn't forgive mistakes. Got it. Thanks, man. If the station goes off, will you come back on somewhere else? If I can, yeah. If this tower dies, I'll try to get a signal out on any frequency that'll have me. Just keep scanning. Okay, I'll listen. It's stupid. But hearing you talk makes this feel less like the end. Maybe that's the trick, Chris. The end of the world never feels like a big movie scene when you're in it. It just feels like you, in your car on a dark road, trying not to breathe too hard. Yeah. Thanks. Take care. Keep that seatbelt on. The line clicks off. I look at the console, at the flickering little red light that means we're still alive in the radio sense. Every time it blinks, I feel a small hit of relief, like a heartbeat that hasn't failed yet. Okay. I can feel my voice starting to crack, and not just from the ash. Here's what I'll leave you with for this stretch. If you're on the island tonight, I want you to do one thing after I stop talking for a moment. Just one. Don't look at your screen. Don't stare at the glow. Just walk to the nearest window, crack it an inch, if it's safe, and listen. Hear the distant rumble, the hiss on the rooftops, the strange quiet between gusts. That's the sound of the ground changing its mind. Remember how normal yesterday felt? Remember the boring errands, the stupid little arguments, the small plans. Hold those in your head like a warm stone. Because if we get through this, if we crawl into some new morning covered in ash but breathing, those ordinary things are going to feel like miracles. This is Daniel Price, KHHN 740 AM, Hilo. I'm still here. You're still there. The line between us is thin, but it's holding. Stay tuned. I'm still here. The clock on the wall says 3:11 a.m., but it's been blinking at me for the last 10 minutes, like it's not sure if it wants to be honest. The backup battery is fighting to keep it steady. Every time the power dips, the numbers smear and then snap back. The glow outside the studio is brighter now. Earlier it sat on the horizon like a line. Now it's a dome. The ash on the window has changed too. At the start of the night, it was soft, dusty, easy to swipe into little gray piles. Now it looks clumped and wet, streaked with darker bits. When the wind hits the glass, the whole pane hums. If you're just finding us, this is KHHN 740 AM, Hilo. My name is Daniel Price. This is not the show we planned tonight, but it's the only one that matters. I took a few minutes off the mic to cough my lungs out in the hallway and pour more fuel into the temperamental beast downstairs that we call a generator. The station smells like old diesel and hot metal now, the kind of smell you never notice until it's the only one left. The phone lines are holding. The internet is limping. The cell network is walking with a limp and a black eye. I checked the big news sites while the music loop ran. The top stories are still all bright photos and breathless tags. Spectacular eruption in Hawaii. Stunning images from Kilauea. They're using the last clear pictures taken before the cameras fried, over and over, like everything froze at that moment. No mention of the dead feeds. No mention of the instruments dropping. No mention of the ash thick enough to turn headlights into weak ghosts. Either they don't know yet, or they don't want to tell it that way. We don't have that luxury here. Let's get to some of the messages that came in while I was off air for that short stretch. Before the network started stuttering worse, we pulled in a batch of texts and emails. I'm going to read a few. This one is from Kilauea in Pahoa. Red eyes on the horizon in every direction, not lava. Small lights, like towers, or something burning in lines. Can't tell if it's real, or my eyes are shot from the smoke. Dogs are losing it. Sister says the birds left hours ago, Another from Jess, Hilo Medical Center. ER getting slammed. Ash inhalation, burns from people trying to touch the lava for pics. We're short on masks. Oxygen supplies okay for now, but ambulance routes are getting muddy. Literally. We can hear low rumbling through the floors. Feels like the building is standing on the chest of something breathing. And one more, from someone who didn't sign a name, just wrote, UH Manoa Physics. Your caller about the ionosphere interference isn't wrong. We're seeing reflective behavior on bands that should be quiet. HF is a mess. Shortwave is bouncing like crazy. Got a burst on our spectrum analyzer that looked like a giant sawtooth. It lined up exactly with a spike in local seismic data logged before the station dropped. I don't think this is just a normal magmatic event. Something about the coupling between the eruption and the upper atmosphere looks off. He added one more line before the message cut mid-sentence. If this keeps scaling, long-range comms are going to go very strange, very fast. You might be hearing that already. People are telling us they're picking up stations they shouldn't. Snatches of mainland talk radio in the middle of our band. Bits of Spanish, Japanese, something that sounds like Russian, all chopped and scattered like someone shuffled the sky. A guy in Kona swears he heard a station from California for 3 seconds, clear as day. Then it flipped into harsh noise. Another caller said he heard a weather report mentioning a storm near Alaska on a frequency we've never used. To the experts, I know ducting happens. I know strange things bounce around up there. But this sounds like more than that. All right. Enough secondhand. Let's talk to someone again. Line 3 is blinking. That's our landline, the old copper one that never got replaced because nobody wanted to crawl under the building with the rats. It has never looked so beautiful. You're on with Daniel. Who's this, and where are you? This is Officer Nate. I'm with Hawaii County Police. I'm calling from near the Kilauea Road. Thanks for calling, Nate. I know you've got your hands full. What are you seeing? We're trying to keep people from driving into the flows, or what we think are the flows. Visibility's trash. The ash is coming in sideways, and every time we think we've got a clear route, something changes. You say, what we think are the flows. Is that... Look, I'm not supposed to say this on air. We've been told to keep it simple. Avoid closed roads, follow officer directions, all that. But people deserve to know what we're actually dealing with. Some of this isn't behaving like we expect. In what way? You've seen lava before, slow, predictable mostly. It follows the land. Tonight we've got sections that look like they're going uphill. I'm not saying they actually are, but the way the land dips, the way the light is, it sure looks like that. And there are these sudden bursts, like the ground coughs fire, then settles, then coughs again. Is it vents opening? Probably. But the pattern's strange. It's not just along one line. We're getting reports of openings popping up in places that weren't flagged in the models earlier. Some near older subdivisions, some in spots that were cleared. How are drivers reacting? Badly. You get the calm ones, the locals who've been through this before. They listen. They turn around. But we're also dealing with people who flew in for the experience. They want to see it up close. They argue when we block a road. One guy actually said, I paid for this trip, man. Like the volcano owes him a show. I closed my eyes for a second. I'm sorry you have to hear that, Nate. Yeah. We had to physically pull a couple back from a guardrail. They were leaning over with their phones out, trying to film a fissure spitting out chunks. One wrong move, and they'd be part of the scenery. Are you getting clear direction from above? Nate laughs, a short, tired sound. We get memos. They keep updating the perimeter on a map that doesn't match what's actually burning. Sometimes the alerts we get are already out of date by the time they hit our screens. We radio in what we see, they say copy. Then 10 minutes later, we get an order that doesn't fit anymore. Any word on why the observatory feeds went dark? He goes quiet for a moment. I can hear wind buffeting his car, faint voices in the background. Off the record, he says, "You're on live radio, Nate." Right. Okay. Then let me say this as careful as I can. We were told there was equipment loss at multiple sites. One message said, catastrophic failure. Another said, environmental damage. No one used the word explosion, but when they talk about flying debris and melting cables, I don't know what else you call it. There was also talk of an anomaly in the data before those stations went out. Some spike they couldn't explain. An anomaly in what sense? They didn't say, just that the numbers did not match expected limits. Then the audio cut off for a few seconds. When it came back, the channel was normal again, like nothing weird had been said. That part wasn't in the official log we got later. I only know because I heard it live on the squad car radio. Do you think someone edited it out? I'm just telling you what I noticed. Draw your own lines. You staying safe out there? I'm trying. We've got respirators, but they're meant for short bursts, not hours in this stuff. The filters are loading up fast. My partner keeps saying his teeth feel gritty. That can't be good, right? No, that's not great. Rinse your mouth whenever you can. Don't swallow what you spit out if it's thick. Stay hydrated. Your lungs work better when the rest of you isn't dry. Copy that, Doc. I'm no doctor. Just replaying advice they give during wildfires. Still more than what we're getting on our tablet right now. Half the updates won't load. The map app keeps spinning. It says, waiting for network. And I feel that in my soul. Nate, before I let you go, anything you want people to do or stop doing? Yeah, 2 things. 1, if an officer tells you to turn around, just do it. Don't argue. Don't say you know a shortcut. Don't try to sneak past. We're not doing this to ruin your night. We're trying to keep you alive long enough to complain about us later. 2, if you're safe at home and you don't need to be on the road, stay off it. Every car out here that doesn't have to be is another obstacle we might have to go around when seconds matter. Got it. Stay safe, Nate. If the line's still up later, call back and tell us you made it through your shift. I'll try. And Daniel? Yeah. Keep talking. The guys are listening in the cruiser. It makes the dark feel less empty. I'll keep going as long as the board stays lit. He hangs up. I sit there with my hand on the fader, feeling this dull, tight ache behind my ribs. Listening to him was like listening to a dam leak. You can tell there's more pressure behind his voice than he's allowed to show. Okay, deep breath. I want to talk about something else now. Something bigger than just this island. While I was off air, I checked the shortwave receiver we keep in the corner as a backup. It's an old metal box with a dial that feels heavy and stiff, the kind of thing your grandfather would own. I powered it up, eased the knob across the bands, looking for anything that sounded like a national feed. Here's what I found. On one band, I caught what sounded like a marine channel. Someone with a clipped voice reading out coordinates and wave heights. Then, in the middle of his sentence, the audio glitched. It repeated the same 3 words twice, sped up, then slowed down, like the transmission was being stretched. Then it vanished into a low hum. On another band, I heard a news anchor from somewhere on the mainland talking about unexpected satellite outages over the Pacific region. He said some weather instruments were returning nonsense values. He laughed it off made a joke about space gremlins, and moved on to a story about a celebrity divorce. I tuned higher and heard a foreign voice, maybe Japanese, maybe Korean. I couldn't tell through the noise. The tone, though, that tone is the same in every language when something is wrong. Tight, tired, pushed. Then, for just a second, I hit a strange noise. Not like normal static. It was a rising tone, smooth and clean, sliding up and then dropping sharply. It repeated twice, pause, then again, almost like a siren, but too pure. No distortion, no warble from the atmosphere. It cut through everything like a razor. Then it was gone. When I went back to that frequency a minute later, all I got was empty hiss and occasional pops. If this eruption is punching energy into the sky the way some people think it is, maybe we're not just watching lava. Maybe we're watching the radio world get bent out of shape. If you're a ham operator out there, if you've got a rig and sometime, log what you hear. Write it down by hand if you have to. Frequencies, times, weird patterns. If we live through this, that notebook might be worth more than you think. All right. I can feel people wanting something more concrete than the spectrum looks wrong. Let's bring it back to people on the ground. Line 2 is flashing. I'm going to pick it up. You're live with Daniel. Who's this? My name is Luis. I'm calling from a cruise ship, or at least, we were a cruise ship. Luis, where are you exactly? We left Hilo Port earlier this evening before things got really bad. The plan was to head out, circle the island, give the tourists a lava at sea experience. You know the type. I work in the kitchen. I don't make the plans. I can imagine. What changed? The captain decided to move farther out once the alerts started coming in. He said we'd be safer in deeper water, away from falling ash and any waves from the quakes. But once we got maybe, 20 miles out, the sea started acting strange. Strange how? It's not rough. That's the thing. It's not big waves. It's heavy. The swell feels wrong. The ship moves in these slow, uneven dips, like we're riding over invisible hills. Some of the passengers say they feel dizzy even when they're lying down. Plates slide on the tables even when the water looks calm. Any word from the bridge? The crew is jumpy. We've lost connection to some of the satellite TV and internet. The ship's internal system keeps showing signal lost on half the channels. We still get some radio. That's how I found you. A few minutes ago, the captain made an announcement saying we'd be holding position until we got more information from the Coast Guard. That was 15 minutes ago. Nothing since. Can you see the island? Barely. The horizon is just a smudge of orange under a dark line. The glow is strong enough that you can see your shadow if you stand on deck facing it. The smoke goes up higher than any cloud I've ever seen. It just keeps going, like it's punching a hole in the sky. Are the passengers staying calm? At first, yeah. They treated it like a show. They filled the deck, phones up, selfies with the glow behind them. People joked that they picked the best night to book. But when the ash started falling even this far out, when they realized the crew was handing out masks, not just cocktails, the mood changed. You're getting ash on the ship? Yes. Not as heavy as you, I think, but enough that the pool has this thin gray film on it. The deck is slippery. They closed the outdoor bar. A couple of times we heard this low boom roll across the water. Not thunder. Too deep. One of the older crew said he'd heard something like it during an undersea quake years ago. Any signs of waves? Tsunami? Nothing big. Not yet. But the instruments up top keep beeping. I carry plates up sometimes. I see the screens. Some of the lines on the graphs are smooth, and then there's this sharp jump. One of the officers was arguing with someone on the radio about whether to move farther out or come closer in case ports shut. Do you feel safe where you are? Luis laughs, a quick, nervous sound. I feel safer than you do, maybe. But it doesn't feel right to be watching from out here while you're choking on ash. Some of us are from the island, you know. We've got family there. My mother is in Puna. I've been trying to call, but the calls keep dropping. What would you tell people on land right now? I don't know if I have the right to tell them anything, but I guess I'd say, don't wait for a perfect order from someone far away. If the air burns your lungs, if the glow is too bright, if the ground shakes more than it should, trust that. Move. Don't wait for a push alert to make it official. That's good advice. Daniel? Yeah. If the radios on the ship start picking up weird stuff like you describe, I'll write it down. Even if no one on board cares about the data, I do. I studied this stuff once. Then I started cooking for tourists because it paid better. You studied what? Geophysics. I dropped out when life got complicated, but I still remember enough to recognize when the graphs look wrong. Email us what you can, if the network allows. Address is the same as always. If the internet chokes, keep writing anyway. Pen and paper don't drop signal. I will, and aloha to everyone back home. Hold on. Thanks, Luis. Take care out there. He hangs up, and the absence of his voice feels bigger than the space it leaves. I realize my hand is shaking a little. I put it flat on the desk, feel the faint vibration in the wood from something deep underground. All right. Time check. 3:37 a.m. If you're still with me, if your radio hasn't given up, and your power source hasn't coughed its last, I want to talk about something I've been trying not to say out loud. People keep asking, when will this end? They want me to say, a few hours. They want me to say, by morning. They want an answer they can hold like a ticket with a time printed on it. But volcanoes don't care about our clocks. The last time Kilauea went on a long tear, it flowed for months. Years, even, if you count the old eruption that fed the lava lake. People built their lives around that slow burn. They drove up to look at it after work, like it was a neighbor with a porch fire. This doesn't feel like that. The signs started fast. The escalation was sharp. The failures are stacked. When sensors go dark all at once, when cameras fry, when infrastructure starts tripping like dominoes, you have to ask if this is just another flare-up or the beginning of something bigger. I'm not saying the whole island is going to vanish under lava. That's not how this works. But I am saying that our neat mental picture of eruption here, safe zone there, may not hold. We've already had power flickers across areas that weren't on the direct ash path. We've heard about comms glitches on ships, weird readings from satellites, odd behavior on HF radio. If this event keeps punching energy up into the sky, it could twist things far beyond the lava's edge. GPS errors, satellite outages, plane reroutes, power grid instability. If you're on the mainland listening to a rebroadcast of this later and you think, it's just a volcano, it's far away, remember how much of your life runs through cables and waves that cross this ocean. You don't need fire at your door for this to touch you. Okay. That's enough doomsday from me for a minute. Let's ground ourselves in something smaller. We've got time for another call before I have to run downstairs and sweet-talk the generator again. Line 1 is lit. You're on KHHN with Daniel. Who's this? This is Uncle Ray from Hilo side. You know me, boy. I call every time the Bows lose. I actually smile for the first time in what feels like years. Ray, I do know you. You're the one who always says the coach doesn't know what a timeout is. That's right. If the world's ending, I'm not going out without saying it one more time. The man does not know how to manage a clock. You picked a hell of a night to keep that bit going. How are you holding up, Ray? I'm old. I've seen this mountain spit before, seen ash, seen lava chew up subdivisions like they were made of bread. But I never heard the island sound like this. What does it sound like to you? Like a big animal with a sore throat. Sometimes it growls, sometimes it sighs. My windows shake even when there's no truck going by. The cats all crawled under the bed. They usually don't sleep together. But tonight, they're stacked like laundry. You got everything sealed up? As best as I can. I taped the windows, stuffed rags under the back door. I dug out those masks my niece mailed me during the pandemic. Didn't think I'd wear them again. But here we are. I even filled the bathtub like civil defense always says. I'm listening for them on my little radio, but they keep repeating the same thing. You're the only one saying new words. Ray, you doing okay with your meds? Last time you called, you complained about your blood pressure. You remember that? Damn. Yeah, I took my pills. With a little whiskey, I'm not gonna lie. I can't officially recommend that, but I get it. Look, I didn't call to complain. I called to tell the young ones something. You let me talk, yeah? Go ahead. You kids think you're immortal. You run outside when there's a wave warning to take videos. You climb fences that say Kapu for the gram. You drive your truck way too fast on wet roads. Tonight is not the night to be stubborn. The land is speaking loud. You don't talk back to that. You listen. If your tutu says, pack a bag and go, you go. If an officer like that boy Nate says turn around, you turn. You can buy a new TV. You cannot buy new lungs or new legs. I let that hang there for a second. Ray, that might be the most important thing anyone has said all night. I doubt that. I'm just an old man in a house that creaks. But I fought in a war once. I know what it feels like when the air itself wants you gone. This feels close. Does it scare you? Of course it scares me, you silly boy. Don't let my jokes fool you. I'm sitting here with my rosary in one hand and my phone in the other. But I'm also... I don't know. I feel something else. Like the island is pulling tight. Like a bowstring. Like something has to give. And we're here to see it. You ever been through something like this before? Not like this. But I was around when the big quake hit in 2006. I was younger then. The ground rolled, the shelves fell, and for a second I thought we were about to crack off and float away. We didn't. We rebuilt. That's the thing about this place. It breaks you, and then it feeds you. Same land that takes your house gives you the soil to grow food later. But this time feels like more than one island's problem. What do you mean? The way the lights in the sky look, the way the radio sounds crooked, the way the birds left before we even got the alert. My nephew on Oahu texted me earlier. He said their sky looked weird too, and they're not even getting ash. He said the sunset looked like it was bleeding. You think this is tied to more than just our mountain? I think we're small. That's what I think. We're tiny little creatures on a hot rock, and sometimes the rock reminds us. That doesn't mean we give up. But we do need to stop pretending we're in charge. Ray, thanks for calling. Stay inside. Stay on your meds. And ease up on the whiskey a bit, yeah? If the signal's still there in the morning, I'll call and tell you who else doesn't know how to manage a clock. I'll hold you to that." He laughs, low and warm. Then the line goes quiet. I look at the board. For a second, none of the lines glow. It's just me, the soft hum of the electronics, and the distant, constant grumble under the floor. I swallow. My throat feels raw, like I've been shouting at a game for hours. But all I've done is talk into this black foam cover, like a confession booth that answers back. "Okay, I should go check the generator again. Before I do, I want to say this. I'm tired. I'm scared. There's a part of me that wants to drive out of this parking lot, head straight up the highway, and not stop until the glow is behind me. But there's another part that won't let me move. Because as long as this station is alive, it's more than just a building full of old wires. It's a spine running through the island. Signals ride it, carrying your voices to each other. If that spine breaks, we all become little isolated islands inside one bigger one, alone with our thoughts and the sound of the world tearing itself open. So I'm staying. For now. I'm staying in this hot room with the buzzing board and the dusty clock and the window that looks out over a bay I can't see. When I come back on in a few minutes, assuming I can convince the generator to keep grinding, we're going to talk about something else that's starting to happen. It's not just the web cameras going dark. It's bigger. It's stranger. And I don't think anyone with a podium is ready to talk about it yet. But we don't have a podium here. We just have this mic. And you. Stay right there. I'm back. Barely. The generator downstairs coughed so hard, I thought it was going to die on me for good this time. Had to kick the side panel twice just to get the rattle to calm down. It's running uneven now, little dips in the hum, like it's trying to remember how to breathe. If it quits, we lose everything except the emergency battery that might last an hour if I'm lucky. Time is 4:02 a.m. The sky looks more like molten glass than sky. When I stepped outside to check the vent pipes, I felt heat on my face like I opened an oven door, even though I was yards away from the building. The ash is thicker, sticky. When I brushed some off my shoulder, it came off in clumps, almost like wet sand. My ears popped once, sharp, like pressure shifted. If you're anywhere near the coast, you might have heard it too, that low, rolling thud that comes every few minutes. Not an explosion, not thunder, just pressure. A push from something deep, like the island is exhaling air that has been trapped for thousands of years. All right, I promised we'd talk about something stranger than the dead webcams. Here goes. While I was outside, I checked my phone again, even though the signal bar is lying half the time, and there were 2 new messages that shouldn't have gotten through at all. Both were fragmentary, and both were time-stamped wrong, like the clock on the sender's device jumped backwards. One of them had a location tag from somewhere in Volcano National Park. The other had no sender name at all. I'll start with the first one. It came from someone named Mina, someone I don't know personally, but she sent weather photos to the station before. Usually sunsets or rainbows over the steam vents. Innocent stuff. Her message tonight wasn't like that. It just said, "Something's glowing where the ground is cracked. Not lava. Wrong color. Can't stay here." That's it. No follow-up. Just the little seen checkmark on my end. The second message. It didn't make sense at first. The text was scrambled, like it got chewed before it reached me. But one line appeared perfectly clean, sitting in the middle of all the noise like someone had carved it out with a knife. It said, "Stop watching the horizon. Watch the sky. Nothing before it. Nothing after. Just that. When messages start coming in from people who don't sign their names and don't leave trails, you start to wonder if it's a prank or a glitch or something worse. But the timing, right when the radio spectrum is acting up, makes my skin crawl a bit. Let me explain what I mean by stranger things, because I know vague comments aren't helpful when the world feels like it's balancing on a loose bolt. People across the island, Kona side, Hilo side, even up near Waimea, are reporting something that shouldn't happen during a volcanic event like this. Lights. In the sky, not volcanic lightning. That's real, and we've seen plenty of it before. Blue flashes, branching lines inside the ash plume. Natural, violent, but predictable. These aren't those. These are steady. Faint at first, then bright, then gone. Sometimes they appear in pairs, sometimes a single point, sometimes a drifting band like a thin ribbon. One person described it as stars that move wrong. Another said, "It's like the sky is reflecting something, but nothing is there to reflect." A couple teenagers in Puna tried to capture it on video, but the footage came out warped, like the camera lens didn't know how to process it. One clip looks like someone dragged a flashlight across the clouds, except there was no beam, no source, just motion. I want to be clear. I don't think it's UFOs. I don't think the volcano woke up something buried in the lava tubes, but I do think the eruption is messing with more than the ground. The interference in the ionosphere people keep mentioning, the broken signals, the strange reflections on the radio bands, they're all connected to the upper layers of the atmosphere. And if the eruption is powerful enough, or fast enough, or electrically charged enough, who knows what kind of effects we get? We've seen massive eruptions in the past generate lightning storms that wrapped around the planet. We've seen ash clouds change global temperatures. We've seen plumes punch through the tropopause and mess with jet stream patterns. But this? Lights that stay still? Lights that move horizontally through ash? Lights that don't make thunder? That's new. And here's something else. A few minutes ago, the NOAA satellite feed we monitor as part of our emergency line went black. Not like connection lost, not like signal degraded. Black. Before it died, the last image it transmitted looked distorted, as if the infrared scanner was being pushed around. The heat plume from Kilauea wasn't a clean upward column like usual. It spread like fingers, thin tendrils reaching far beyond the crater. I've never seen that shape before. Maybe it's an error. Maybe it's a corrupted frame. But I've been staring at NOAA images for years, and this one, it looked alive. Okay, heavy stuff. Let's talk to someone else. Line 2 is lighting up. I'm answering it. You're on KHHN with Daniel. Who's this? It's Maya. Her voice is small, like she's speaking through a blanket. Hi, Maya. Where are you calling from? I'm at the edge of Hilo, near Kaumana. We tried to leave earlier, but the car battery died when the ash got thick. We couldn't see anything, so we came back inside. Are you safe now? We're trying. The windows are vibrating. Not from wind. It's like the sound is coming from the ground. Describe it. It's low, like a drum buried under the house. And sometimes it stops, and everything goes still. And that's when it's worse, because you feel like something is waiting. Are you with anyone? My dad. He's trying to clear a corner of the living room where the ash isn't seeping in so bad. He keeps telling me to drink water. I don't feel thirsty, but my throat hurts. Drink anyway. The ash dries you out faster than you think. Are you feeling dizzy? A little, and my hands feel fuzzy, like they're vibrating. That could be nerves, or fear, or low oxygen. Are you near any vents or cracks you can see? No, but the glow from the mountain is reflecting off the clouds above us. It's brighter than streetlights. You can read a book by it. Have you seen anything unusual in the sky? Yes. Can you describe it? At first, I thought it was a plane, a small one. But it didn't blink. It didn't move forward. It just hovered, like a star caught on something. Then it slid sideways, slowly, and then it faded out like someone turning a knob. Anything else? There were 2 flashes earlier. Not lightning. They were too round, and no thunder came after. My dad said not to look anymore, but I keep seeing them out of the corner of my eye. Maya, are you scared? Yes, but not of the lava. What then? The air feels wrong, heavy, like there's something in it that isn't smoke. I know that doesn't make sense, but it feels like everything around us is charged, like the world is waiting to snap. I pause. I don't want to scare her more, but I won't lie. You're not the only one saying that. What should we do? Stay inside. Keep your face covered. Drink water. Lay low until the ash stops being this thick. If the ground begins to crack, or you hear gas hissing, move uphill. Not toward the mountain, just uphill enough to avoid a flow path. Stay together. Keep a flashlight ready even if it flickers. And Maya. Yes? Keep talking to your dad. Don't sit in silence. The silence is what makes people panic. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. You call me back if anything changes. I will. The line disconnects softly, like she was afraid to hang up too loud. I'm going to say something now I haven't said all night. I'm worried. Not just general fear. A specific worry blooming in a specific direction. Something about the pressure waves, the strange lights, the communication failures happening far from the eruption. Something about the way the ash isn't falling straight anymore. It curls, spirals, moves in patterns like it's riding invisible wires. Something is coupling the eruption to the sky in a way I don't understand. And the people who do understand are either silent or unreachable. Maybe there's nothing supernatural about it. Maybe it's just physics doing things we haven't seen in our lifetimes. But when the sky starts behaving like water, when stars start drifting, when radio signals bend, when ash falls in circles, you have to wonder if we're witnessing the kind of event that textbooks will write entire chapters about, if there's anyone left to write them. Okay, deep breath. We're still here. The tower hasn't fallen. The generator hasn't died. The lights are dim but steady. I'm going to open line 3 again, but before I do, if anyone from the observatory can hear me, or any scientist with access to live data, or anyone on the mainland monitoring atmospheric sensors, call in. Use any frequency you can, because I think the island isn't the only thing shaking tonight. I think the sky is shaking too. Lines are open. I'm listening.